We're on South Australia's Eyre Peninsula, and I'd love to tell you that we came to explore a mosaic of pristine coastline, endless sandy beaches, and coastal towns overflowing with succulent seafood, mouth-watering wine, and seaside charm. But I'd be talking shit. I just read that from a tourism brochure. I'm actually here to burn as much gas through these Yamaha donks as I can, fillet as many whiting fillets, and scam as much free wine as possible too. I'm already off to a flying start on the scammer meter. You see, I got my girlfriend Ali to sweet talk Alan Whittley into giving us the keys to a boat, his tow vehicle, and his fuel card. Not bad. I've always wanted to explore the Eyre Peninsula, all the way to the tuna town known as Port Lincoln, then along the west coast up to Streaky Bay. All I needed was 100 or so whiting and maybe a few Coffin Bay oysters to get Ali in the mood. Did I mention that Whittley has a seriously comfy double bed? More about the Whittley later. This place does have amazing natural beauty. Red dirt roads lead you to large white sand dunes that roll forever before cascading into the Southern Ocean. There are coastal townships, some booming with busloads of tourists clambering onto eco boats, others just rust away on the side of the highway. Our first destination was Tumby Bay, home to Tumby Tom. Apparently, he's the local fishing legend, and this bloke doesn't even have a fancy website or brochure either, just what we were looking for. So, Tumby Tom promised to share a few of his secret spots with us. He tells us that at this time of the year, the fish are on hard bottom, on clumps of rock that hold corkweed and berryweed. Usually though, you're fishing where you can see them, right along the sand edges. Best bait is pippy or cockle, but it's good to have a few options. And if you're serious, you catch a few fresh squid or cuttlefish, then tenderize them and cut them into strips. We returned the favour by giving Tumby Tom a fang behind the helm of the Whittley, although he did bargain hard for a dinner date with Ali. Tom took us fishing around the Joseph Banks Island group, named by Matthew Flinders after Captain Cook's botanist, Joseph Banks. It was one of the biggest and best whiting sessions I've ever had. I think we were hooking a whiting maybe every 30 seconds to a minute, and they were squirming all over the floor. After a little session, we bagged out, and now I can definitely see why people love catching them. King George whiting are supposedly one of the best eating fish in the sea, and now I definitely agree. Over the course of the next week, we slurped down some delicious oysters and got taught how to shuck them with Chris from Pure Coffin Bay Oysters. We also wrangled some wild emus in Coffin Bay National Park. Not really, they were too fast for us. We also froze our balls and nibbles off when we went for a swim at Almonte Beach. We caught up with another local legend, Jamie Crawford, who builds fish farms and shark cages in the area. He took us out for a session on the whiting off Port Lincoln National Park. We also hooked into some massive morwong on light gear, which was epic fun. They've got to be some of the prettiest fish in the ocean. I reckon they'll even give Angelina Jolie's lips a run for their money too. From there, we worked our way along the west coast, stopping in at some spots like Woolshed Caves and Talia Beach. There's not much to see along the way, and the diesel is sparse, but we did manage to stumble into a dusty old gem called the Sharinga Roadhouse for a couple of burgers. We kept on going west before pulling up stumps at Camel Beach, where we had the most epic bonfire at sunset and got stuck into a huge school of Aussie salmon on the ultralight gear. The guys at Whittley may have been around for more than 60 years, but they're not just sitting around in the lunchroom twiddling their moustaches. They noticed the influx of European boats with soft edges, toilets and lock-up cabins, all the things that appeal to Mrs. Captain. So they took one of their proven concepts, the Sea Legend, and gave it a makeover. They call it the Coast Tourer, which is pretty appropriate for our trip. So what's special about the Coast Tourer? There's an awesome moulded hardtop, which we didn't bump our heads on once. This leads down to a big windscreen with awesome 360-degree visibility with wipers that actually work. This is a must when tackling the wild southern seas. Another must is a lockable sliding door, which keeps you warm and snug when you're on the water, and your fishing gear safe when you're knocking back some schooners at the pub after a day on the whiting. There's a well-appointed cabin and a wide aperture leading into a double bed. It's awesome for getting you and your other half, or just your gear, in and out easily, but it comes at a cost. There's not too many grab rails in the cabin for your crew, and it also means you lose a little dash space to put your phone and wallet on. The V-berth also has a dinette drop-in, which makes for killer on-water picnics. The nice touches don't end there. There's also rear-facing upholstered seating out in the cockpit and plush gunnel padding. There's heaps of room out the back and an integrated rear deck. On the port side, you've got freshwater washdown and sink. And on the starboard side, you've got a live bait tank, which we managed to keep 30 big King George whiting alive in. Our only criticism would be the small drainage holes, which got clogged with scales. This one is powered with a pair of Yamaha 150 four-strokes, pushing a 23-degree hull. The twin outboards were a game changer when it came to stability while underway, manoeuvrability in tight spaces, and incredible grunt. We were clocking speeds over 75 kilometers per hour. Speaking of performance figures, this boat comes standard with a 240-litre fuel tank, which unbelievably we didn't fill up once during the whole trip. And the best part, it's all legally towable under 2.5 metres and just shy of 3.5 tonne, fully loaded with all of my Tiegras and Ali's activewear. So, who would this boat suit? By the looks of it, most of the residents of South Australia for a start. This boat dropped jaws everywhere we went. I don't think they see much big deep V glass around these parts. This boat would also suit young couples, small families and grey nomads alike. Whether they're just taking it down to the local ramp and using it on weekends, or taking it on big long road trips around Australia, the Coast Tourer definitely lives up to its name. The South Australian shoreline is some of the most rugged and remote that we've come across, and the SL25 was the perfect saltwater sled to attack it.